Welcome, Belle and Jamie Zito to Talks to Go. First, we want to congratulate you, Belle, on your graduation from Northeastern University. That's really exciting. When we
Yes.
were doing a little bit of research, we saw that the graduation was held at Fenway Park. And obviously, since we don't like to assume anything, first and foremost, are you guys Red Sox fans?
Okay, I'm a Red Sox fan.
Okay.
I'm a Yankee fan. I grew up
Ooh,
a Yankee
Yes.
fan in
Oh.
the 70s and 80s of Reggie Jackson and Greg Nettles days and those Yankee teams. So we do have a conflict in our house only on baseball.
Okay.
Yes.
okay.
Okay.
Like my grandfather literally like texts us every time the Yankees play the Red Sox, and he's always like, "Who's gonna win? Who's gonna win?" Big
Well,
Red.
we can somewhat we're a split
Yeah.
household, not Yankees Red Sox, but Jill is a devout, rabid
Yankees.
Yankees fan. I'm a San Francisco Giants fan, believe it or not.
Yeah.
Even though I grew up in New Jersey, yeah, I root for a team all the way across the country. But anyway,
Jamie, did you grow up in the tri-state area? Is that how you became a Yankees fan?
well,
No,
Rhode Island. Oh,
Rhode
so
Island,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
no,
Yeah,
yeah, no, I grew up a Yankee fan. My grandfather, who immigrated from Italy, was a Yankee fan from day one, and Yogi Berra and Mickey Mantle and Joe DiMaggio were his heroes when he moved over here. And my father took on the Yankees, and I took on the Yankees, and then um, Isabella and Ava became Red Sox fans because growing up in the 70s and 80s, it probably would have been really hard to be a Red Sox fan where now it's easy to be a Red Sox fan up here. It's harder to be a Yankee fan these days up here. But yeah, so that's how I became a Yankee fan. It was in pinstripes were in my blood from day one.
Yeah. So for Belle, for you, there was no, like, you didn't want to turn to that side. You were always like a devout Red Sox fan.
Well, I would say I don't know. I mean, like, I'm not a huge baseball person,
Mhm.
but when you live in Boston,
Yep.
you have to own a Boston Red Sox hat and you
Yeah.
go to Fenway Park all the time.
Yep.
So I think that once I got into Northeastern, that's kind of what made me really start to support the Red Sox.
Yeah.
That was probably where it started.
Well, what was it like graduating in Fenway Park? I mean, that's so awesome.
Was amazing. Our commencement is like viral on TikTok right now because Elliot Grange, who is
Yep.
Sophia Richie's husband,
Mhm.
he did our commencement and he was so good. And then they broke out into song after. It was like High School Musical. There were cheerleaders being thrown in the air. There was they held up like signs like in the crowd. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Insane.
I can't even imagine. I mean, I was jealous of anyone who attended NYU because obviously they graduate at Yankee Stadium. So, I just had my graduation in our athletic and events center. So
Mm.
that's really awesome that you got to have it at Fenway. Really cool.
Yeah.
And the guest speaker, as she said, Elliot was amazing. He's a younger guy. He's in his early 30s, graduated from Northeastern, very, very successful. But he talked a lot about opening
Failure.
doors and it's okay to fail. And one of the things he said was, always look for the invisible doors and listen for the invisible doors because they're going to open up. And those are the things, what you think you're going to do today probably isn't going to be what you're going to do tomorrow. So think differently. And it was perfect for that age group, people graduating in today's economy and today's job market to think differently. And he did an amazing job.
Awesome. Well, I'm a fan of Sophia Richie, so
Yeah.
that's really cool.
And Jake Shane was there, which was
Yes.
cooler.
Yes, I did see that. I don't think you know who that is, Dad, but yeah.
I didn't know
He
either.
was like, "Who is that?"
I
Yeah.
just knew that's Lionel Richie's daughter. That's
Yes,
that's all I knew. Lionel Richie's daughter.
correct.
Hey, Jimmy, what was it? What did it feel like seeing your daughter graduate in the shadow of the Green Monster, where Bucky Dent's ball flew over that wall? There you
Yep.
go. There's your Yankees reference.
Yep, absolutely. It was an amazing day. Being at like I'm a Yankee fan, but being at Fenway Park, going to Fenway Park, the neighborhood, being in there, my work brings me to ballparks all the time. So I'm regularly in ballparks and arenas. There is nothing like Fenway Park. When you walk in and you see the green monster and see the grass, there is something to Fenway Park. My Yankee Stadium, it's a great place, but it's new Yankee Stadium. It's different. It's commercial. Fenway Park is still old and just it's the same bricks and the same bathrooms and the same
Yeah.
seat and the seats face the wrong way. Face home plate. All those things still exist, and I think that gives it the charm, which made made commencement even more exciting.
Yeah.
I've had the pleasure of seeing two games at Fenway, and I maintain the best sausage and peppers hero I've ever was at Fenway Park. No, no,
Absolutely.
nope, nothing even comes close.
After a good night of drinking, the sausage and pepper stand, it's open. It's open 24 hours. It's a
Oh,
great spot.
Jill, we're going.
yeah.
We're going.
Well, I
Yeah.
told him, I was like, even as a Yankees fan, like I want to go to Fenway because obviously there's just so much history there. So,
Mhm.
and it's such a cool ballpark.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jamie, you and Belle recently shared your extraordinary Boston Marathon story with People Magazine. And Jamie, on that day, as we noted in our introduction, you were about a mile from the finish line when the bombs went off. I'm curious, could you hear or feel the explosions?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I was about a mile away, maybe a little less than a mile. And that day we had a plan. My wife Natasha, Isabella, and Ava were in the grandstands. We got them grandstand seats, and it wasn't my first time running the marathon. And I don't talk about this story. I probably have only said it one or two other times. So here I go. So the plan was I'm gonna get close to the finish line, get the girls, throw them over the wall. I want the picture crossing the finish line with my daughters. Like that was my goal of that day. And I had a specific time, and Natasha knew, like, okay, about this time he's gonna be coming along. And I called her probably 30 minutes before that and said, hey, not doing so well. I'm probably gonna be a little later. It's not working out. The plan is still in place, but it's going to take me a little bit longer. So with that, kind of going along, and I've got headphones on, and I'm shuffling along, and I know something's up, something's not normal. There are people stopping, and I'm just like, I got to finish this thing. This is hard. This is a grind. And a few minutes later, if you've ever been to a marathon or a parade, the fences they have along the side, they take them and they put them in the road. And I'm thinking, wait a minute, like I got to finish this. I've been training for 6 months. I've got to get to the end of this. I want to be done. And they say the race is over, the race is over. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I take my headphones off, and a cop says to me, race is over. There was an explosion at the finish line. And I'm like, what do you mean an explosion? And at that point, I was like, okay, so now I picked up my phone and I start dialing, and there was no cell signal at that point because everybody at that point
Right.
was dialing their phone. So not thinking, after running, 25 something miles and seeing all this, my brain isn't operating at 100%. I'm thinking, oh my God, they're not answering, but it wasn't even going through.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh my God, the worst. And, I had run 25 miles, and then I had really started running. I was jogging 25 miles and really started running. And you couldn't get to the finish, so you had to go all the way around, and dialing the whole time. And then my brother-in-law called me about 20 minutes later and says, and he wasn't even there.
He was here, right?
He was here. He was home. He was at his office in Rhode Island. And he says, everybody's trying to get a hold of you. And I'm like, why are you calling me? He's like, nobody can get through. I get through to you. I'm watching it on the news. I'm like, what do you mean you're watching it on the news? And he says, they're okay. They're at this road. And I think you guys were on Dartmouth Street. And I started heading that way. And then my wife called me and said, we're over here. Here's where we are. And we went all the way around. I got to them, and I'd run 20 something miles, now probably 27. And Isabella like jumped into my arms and said, let's go. So we then run to the car, jump in the car, and we piled people in.
There was no train anymore.
There was no train, so anybody that went to watch it with us jumped in the car with us. So Ava was sitting on my lap, and we drove home from Boston. I was still in my uniform, my gear, my number, and we got home that night. And this is a funny story about Ava. We get home that night, and we can't put on the TV. Everybody's upset. We can't believe what we had just seen. And my wife and I said, all right, let's go get something to eat. I'm literally dressed with like the number on, my shorts, my
Right.
sneakers, and we go to the girls love Japanese food. So we went to hibachi and we sit down at a hibachi table and there's no TVs. And this couple who was, I don't know, in their early 20s come in and sit next to us. And Ava's on the end and they're like, hey, how you doing? And Ava, who was really young at the time, goes, we almost got blown up today. Right. And they were like, what? And I'm like, well, yeah, just, and it was it made a laugh to a really bad day and a bad situation. But
Mhm.
yeah, getting through that and getting to them that period of time, I thought my life was over as I had known it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Bill, how close were you actually to the explosions?
So we were really close to the first one. How it's set up is there's these big grandstands. If you're looking at the finish line on the right side, and they're right in front of the Boston Public Library. So we were in those, and then directly across from us was the first explosion.
Wow.
So we saw the first one go off, and like sometime like in Boston, because it's like the birthplace of America, there's a lot of cannons. Like at
Hmm.
Patriot games, like they shoot off cannons when they score a touchdown. So the first thing we thought it was a cannon, and then the second one, and then there's people like screaming and freaking out,
Mhm.
and that's when we like jumped out of there and freaked out and ran.
Yeah.
Would it be fair to say that any of you were in what I'll call at least a semi state of shock? I mean, you talk about driving home. That must have been one heck of a surreal ride.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
to talk about how close they were, the famous video of the gentleman who like there's an older gentleman who gets knocked off, who's running, who gets knocked off his feet when
Mm.
you watch the explosion.
Hmm.
They're in the beginning of that video. The explosion goes off and the camera shakes, and it was that quickly. You can see my wife, and she's got a green jacket on, and like they're in the beginning of the video, and 2 or 3 seconds later, they're gone. Like they kind of got pushed back. So they're in the initial bombing video on
Wow.
the left-hand side.
Wow.
Wow. I mean, Belle, when you finally returned to your home in Rhode Island that day, your dad made a vow to you that one day he and you would run the marathon together. So, what was your initial reaction to that statement from him?
I mean, like I always thought we would run it together. We kind of grew up a running family. Like we did races. Um, yeah, we did races all the time. In the summer, there was like they used to have this Father's Day race in our town. We'd run it. I'd run the kids race. He'd run the 5K. We kind of do that at a couple different races. But like I always I never thought we would actually like do it.
Mhm.
But I think we said that like once they captured
Mhm.
the guy. I think like once it was all over that we like said we were gonna do it and we are gonna return there and we did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, it's one of those things that
You say it,
I was
but
saying it, try to comfort her. She was having a really hard time with what she saw, all those things. Um, People died right across the street, directly straight across the street from them. And, being 10 years old, coming to grips with that
Yeah.
was really hard. And I said, look, someday we're going to run that marathon together. We're going to go back and run the marathon and do it together. And you kind of go, okay.
Right.
And she held me to it. She held me to it.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, obviously, you just mentioned it's easier said than done. I mean, my best friend right now, she's gearing up to run the Brisbane Marathon in a couple weekends, and I just like can't believe all the training she's doing, how much work goes into running a marathon. So, for you two, when did it become a reality that this is happening? We're running it together, and we're gonna cross that finish line.
So after the marathon bombing, I got out of marathon running. I got into it probably 4 or 5 years before that. I wasn't like a runner. I got into it for fitness and started running and running a little bit more and got into and started running on these charity teams. I ran for Dana-Farber, raising money for Dana-Farber cancer research for 3 years in the Boston Marathon. And then I kind of fell off that because it's hard to do that training. They were starting in sports and activities, so it's like I didn't have the time to invest in the training, so it kind of fell off. And I would still run, and we would run like 5K races and things like that here and there, but the marathon training fell off since then until now. And
I feel like
you started it up again.
well, because when you live in Boston and you go through Marathon Monday, the excitement around the city, like the 2 weeks leading up to it, you're like, I want to run a marathon. Like you see all the TikTok videos after like the New York City Marathon and you're
Right.
like, oh, I want to run a marathon. You know what I'm
Yeah.
talking about?
Yeah.
So it's so exciting. And with that background of like running when I was younger, probably 2 years ago, I started running and was like, okay, I'm gonna do a 5K, 10K. Now we're at a half. And then we were like, I think we can do it. So
So she had
So
done a couple of halves in the last
yeah.
year and then said, I'm going to do the marathon. And I'm like,
And I
this
was
was
like,
like
you have
last
to do
fall.
it.
And I'm like, all right.
Yeah.
So in 2022, I had knee surgery. Like I was out of like the long running game for
Yep.
double digit years. And I said, okay, like, let me think about this. And before I commit to this, I got to start training a little bit to see if I can hold up through the training. And we ended up doing a half marathon in November. And it's the first time I'd run a half marathon in double digit years. And after that, I'm like, okay, like, let's do this. Let's do this. And she had the connection with Johnny from Special Olympics.
Yeah.
And it kind of added to it of like, okay, we're going to run for Special Olympics. And you may want to talk about that.
Yeah, so I worked as an intern for the Boston Bruins for 2 years,
oh,
and during my time there, we had an employee and he has Down syndrome, and he is like one of my favorite people on this earth. His name is Johnny, and he was like the light of the office. Everyone knows him. He's like a local celebrity, and he's just amazing. And he's one of the team captains for Special Olympics. And so I was telling him about like how I was running a half marathon, I think like back in November. I was telling him about it and he was like, you should run for Special Olympics. And I was like, okay. Like I wanted to run the marathon for something that I felt was like a worthy cause that I was connected to. And
mhm.
he's a perfect cause that I was connected to. So we applied and we got involved with them, and it's been nothing but amazing to be involved with Special Olympics.
Yeah.
Well, we can identify with that too because I have a niece, Jill's cousin, Kirsten, who just turned 35.
Oh my gosh. Can't
Yeah, in
believe that.
January, hard to believe, who's got Down syndrome.
Mhm.
And she is nothing short of amazing. And the funny thing is, it's an inside joke in our family. Um, and I mean this like clockwork, every single day she calls.
Mhm.
She's
He
got a
called me too.
she's got a calling list,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Nothing gets in Kirsten's way. Now, she talks about the truth be told, I don't pick up the phone every day because you know what? My life is not that interesting that I can add something new every single day. But I will say I speak to her anywhere from 2 to 3 times a week,
Yep.
and she's just amazing. The heart as big as all outdoors.
Mhm.
She's just an incredible young woman. Has a job, works in a restaurant. Recently got a stellar report from her supervisor. Said we wish we had more Kirstens, and the family couldn't be more proud of her. So we can absolutely identify with what you folks are talking about.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. Jamie, the events of April 15th, 2013. In what ways did it reshape your life and perhaps the relationship you have with Belle?
Um, so early on, I remember the next morning waking up thinking, all right, I was running a marathon. They were there to see me running a marathon for my own, like I was passionate about it and they were there supporting me and they had to see that and they were almost part of it. They almost got killed. And so I remember for a few days I was like, oh, I cannot believe I put them in that situation. Um, and then getting past that and we've always had like our family, we're really close. We do a lot of things together. Even Belle's 22, almost 22, we still vacation together. We go out to dinner together, all of us. Ava's upstairs now. She just got home from school. She's a senior in high school. It's her last week of high school, and we were talking about what's going on in the last week. So we're a really close family tonight. We're going to cook out and outside because it's a nice night out here.
Hmm.
And that's what I said to Natasha. She's like, what do you want to do for dinner? I'm like, well, Belle's home this week. Let's cook out. It's nice out. So we've always been a close family. And, I think some of it has been, they've gotten into sports. Belle's gotten into running. Some of that, not because of me, because she came home one day, 2 years after that, or a year and a half after that, and said, I think I'm going to run on the cross country team. And Then she came home and said, I think I'm going to play on the soccer team. And I knew nothing about cross country. I'd never been to a cross country meet, even though I'd run 5Ks and races. I'd never been to and I'd never been to a soccer game. And from there, Ava ran cross country. Ava played soccer all through, high school. And we've made wonderful friends, met so many fans. It kind of guided our lives somewhat on going to sporting events, being a family. Sometimes we would go, Belle would have a game in one direction, Ava would have a game in another. Natasha would go one way, I would go the other, and we'd meet for dinner or for lunch after. And that was every weekend for a lot of years. We met families that we would vacation with that we would have never known if Belle didn't come home and say, I want to be part of cross country or I want to be part of soccer. And I think that has kind of shaped us and, brought us, sports and activities have brought us and kept us close as a family. And, Belle was on a soccer team that we traveled a couple of times to Europe. Ava was on a soccer team that we would go all over the Northeast with these, and we would always do it as a family. Everybody always came to the games, and Ava would come to all Belle's game. Belle would always go to the game. It was one of those things that kept us close together. So I think that kind of shaped us of, hey, let's be together on this because, these activities connect us and it keeps us together.
Yeah. Is your sister following in your footsteps and also going to Northeastern? Is she going completely opposite?
My sister is going to University of Rhode Island. She is like a social butterfly. We always say she has like the most friends out of like anyone we know. Like she is friends with everyone at school. We're like, I'm very social, but she's way more social than me. So she's going like to have like a lot of fun there lots of time.
Yeah,
that's like a place for her, I feel.
She's an amazing networker. She's got this amazing network of friends between soccer and school and middle school. And people stay connected with her. And we had our sports banquet yesterday for her senior year. And just after the amount of people and taking pictures, and I'm like, God, like she's got this amazing network of people, which is great. And a lot of them are going to University of Rhode Island with her. So we're excited for her and proud of her.
Go Rams. Go Rams,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
Brody Rams.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, obviously you two just mentioned that sports and running is kind of what has bonded you even closer together. Is there anything else outside of sports and running that is like the super glue that bonds you two together?
Look, we're passionate about a lot of things. We watch a lot of the same TV shows.
We watch Boston sports. Like that's a big bond for us. We're both like diehard Bruins fans. So
yeah. Bruins and Celtics. It's like it's odd right now because we've got nothing. There's no playoffs ended, and
we have nothing to do.
Not sure if you're Knicks fans, but
we are not. We're not.
We don't. Yeah, we're not really a basketball.
We're not
family.
a basketball family.
Yeah. So we're good on that.
Yeah.
No rivalry
here.
here.
Because I don't know if we could continue because like it's been a sad week here in New England.
No rivalry here. So
okay. As a kid, I was a Celtics fan. I mean, I'm talking about one of my favorite players was, believe it or not, Sam Jones. Okay. And that's how far back I'm going. I'm talking about Hondo those days. I mean, back in the mid to late 60s, early 70s, those were my Celtics teams. I love those guys. Yeah. And in fact, I was saying to Jill, I don't know about you folks, but I grew up in the days before there was ever a 3-point shot. And now I watch, in fact, I can't even watch NBA basketball anymore because I just feel like it's a 3-point shooting contest. That's what it's evolved to. And the Celtics, I guess, live by the 3, die by the 3, and they died by the 3.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely. They couldn't get it together, and they had some injuries, and I think the Knicks had more passion and wanted it more in the end this year, and ran by them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, New York's going crazy, so it's going to be interesting to
I'm
see
sure.
how far they go. Yeah.
It's insane.
Yep. Yeah. Jamie, the events of the day back, in 2013, prevented you from crossing the finish line. So when you and Belle, crossed the line together in this year's marathon, how did it feel?
So amazing, like a lifetime experience for me. One of the things, so we're running the race, and it's hard. Boston Marathon's hard. We were trained.
We trained those hills. We trained the whole course.
It's hard, and so mile like 13, 14, 15, so a little more than half. I know today is not my best day. And I'm grinding through and she's kind of moving along and I'm like, all right, and we get this little thing. Sometimes I'll be like, you lead or I'll lead and I'll get behind her and I'm like, okay, just focus on staying behind her. That's why you're here. Like I was there running that marathon because it was to do it with her. And that got us a bunch more miles. And then we got to like 23, 24. So we're like getting close. We're in the city. And I'm starting to like, I got my second win. I'm starting to feel good. And now she's going, uh-oh, this thing got really, really hard. And I'm like, we're done. Like, this is the best part. Like, let's go feel the crowd. And so we kind of get through the city. We get through Kenmore Square where Fenway Park is, and we head towards Boylston Street. You take a right on Hereford and left on Boylston Street. That's like the famous last turn of the Boston Marathon. And it's like probably a little more than a quarter mile left. And there's thousands of people, tens of thousands of people around. And we knew where a few family members would probably be at that time. So we're kind of staying towards the right side. And and this is not by design. I don't know if I even told you this before. As we're crossing the finish line, we're getting ready to cross the finish line right before like the picture you saw, she reaches out and goes, take my hand. And it was like an amazing, like, I didn't think of it. But she's like, take my hand right before we're ready to cross that finish line. And it was an amazing, like once in a lifetime, like experience. I said to my wife, I said to Natasha, I'm like, I'm good. Like, that's it. Like, I don't know what else I'm going to do because when she said, like, literally, she was on my right and she put her hand out and she's like, take my hand. And I'm like, yes, let's go. And amazing. So just a once in a lifetime experience that you couldn't recreate. It wasn't by design, just happened to happen that way. And
it was like a full circle moment.
Yeah, it absolutely was. As we crossed that finish line.
God, you mentioned that line, and all of a sudden, the line that pops into my head is, "Dad, want to have a catch?"
Absolutely.
That was your field of dreams moment right there. Yeah.
Like, and I just remember looking down and seeing her hand, and she's like, "Take my hand." And we hadn't talked. It wasn't in plan. It was just we were trying to get across. At that point,
trying to make it.
We were just trying to make it. Like my legs were on fire. And I was just trying to stay upright to get through and be done and get through it, but also, enjoy that experience because who knows if you'll ever be there, but it won't be like that again, no matter what.
That is classic. Yeah. Do you guys plan on saving anything from your running shoes, your bibs, anything as mementos of this particular race?
We do.
Wait, I actually have one.
So my birthday was 2 weeks ago.
Happy belated birthday.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Jamie.
Thank
you. There you go.
Oh, wow.
There you go.
Created that with the bib,
that's
the
great.
Picture and the headline from the news. Yeah. So
that's fantastic.
I'm gonna put it up behind me here. This is my home office where I work out of.
That's a lot great.
I need a different background, so that's gonna be my background pretty soon.
Perfect. Great job, Belle.
Yeah. Are we planning on running any more marathons together in the future, or are we taking a little bit of a break?
I'm like hooked.
Yeah.
Even though I remember someone asked me like an hour after we finished, they were like, "Are you gonna run another one?" And I was like, "You gotta give me a day." I've already started trying to figure out how to get through all the world majors and get the 6-star.
Wow. You're dedicated.
Wow. All I can say is wow.
Yeah. So he's like already a third of the way done on the 6 stars.
So we're trying to figure out how we get into New York this year, potentially, or Chicago. So I'm trained somewhat.
Well, if you guys run New York, let us know because we'll be there to cheer you on.
Absolutely.
We're 20 minutes from the city.
Yeah. I know.
Yep.
And I look at it as some point she's not going to want to run around with me on a Sunday afternoon, and she'll have other things to do. So let's take her. I got to keep going on this journey as long as I can keep going. I'll give you an example. Last weekend or 2 weeks ago.
Oh yeah, we were.
She's like, I'm gonna run they had the Providence half marathon. She goes, I'm gonna run the Providence half marathon. I'm like, I'm not recovered. I need time to recover.
Right.
And So she comes home. We go get her number on Saturday, and we're picking up the number. And Ava, so her and Ava and I go to pick up the number. And Ava says to me, "You're gonna run this race tomorrow, huh?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not. Like, I'm not ready. Like, I'm gonna get
He
hurt.
had such bad FOMO.
I'm getting old, right?" And I'm like, so it gets to like 10 o'clock at night. I go on the website and I'm like, sitting in Tasha, I'm like, I'm registering. How many more times am I gonna go run a race with Isabel? Like, she's 22. She's gonna like do other things in her life. I got to take advantage of it. And we went and signed up. I signed up for the race in the middle of the night, when I picked up my shirt that
Wow.
morning, got the number, and we ran the race, and it was awesome. It was another like great experience. She got a PR. I was trying to keep up, like to catch her in the finish. Like, she's like, "I'm gonna PR, let's go." And I'm like, "Oh God, like I just want to finish and I got to keep going."
So Jamie, you've provided the perfect segue to the next question to Belle. And Belle, the question is this: complete the following sentence. The best thing about my dad is what?
Blank.
Blank.
He keeps me going. Whether it's so, for example, like the past few weeks, I've been applying to jobs and doing the whole job search post-grad. And I have gotten discouraged a lot. And he's been telling me the whole time, it's going to be fine. He's very glass half full. He's always like trying to tell me the positive, and I'm tend to be like a little negative a little bit. But like he's like, it's gonna be fine, you're gonna find something, it's gonna be okay. So he kind of keeps me going, and that happens in like other aspects of life when I call them like crying or something like that, when something's like not working out or I'm having a tough time, they keep me going.
Yeah.
You know, you've teed it up again, Belle. Jamie, as a seasoned HR executive, let's go a little inside baseball here, okay? What tips are you giving Belle, and what tips would you give other recent college grads as they prepare to enter the workforce?
So I say to her, wait for the right job. And the right job will come along, and with the right company, gaining the right experience. I think that's really important. Not just find a job, to have a job. Like you've graduated. There's never going to be another time in your life that you don't have to worry about bills and mortgage and like all that stuff. Like, it's gonna come. And once you start working, once those things start, it's hard to say, take a little time off, like not like months and months, but take a few weeks, like to breathe and enjoy it, and enjoy like not having those responsibilities. But I think being open, I say to listen about different jobs, listen to different companies, talk to different people, and always be networking. Don't wait for the job to be posted. When the job's posted, if the job's posted at 8 in the morning, by 3 o'clock, there's 1,000 applicants in today's job market.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So network with people every day. Every day, set an hour or so, and she's doing it. She does a good job with it of, okay, who did you call? Who did you network with? Who did you connect with on LinkedIn? Who did you do an informational interview with? Who did you go get coffee with? And do those things as many times as you can. And it's repetition, it's consistency, because what'll happen is a job will come up and somebody will say, hey, before we post that, I met somebody 2 weeks ago who would be great for this job. And you get the interview before it's even posted. And I think that is something that it's easy to see in today's world. On LinkedIn, you see everybody, oh, I got this job and I'm excited to announce that. Don't worry about those things. I say to her all the time, you wouldn't want that job anyway. Like, you didn't want that. Like, so-and-so else got a job. Yeah, but you don't want to do that job. No, I don't. Okay, then don't worry about that other person's job. So as advice, I always think, talk to as many people as you can, network every day, and you got to do it consistently. It's like book it in your morning as part of your morning of get up and start networking. We were just talking about it right before you guys started. I'm like, hey, this is a short week, because a lot of people will start cutting away Thursday afternoon, Friday into the weekend. So get it done early, because Friday nobody's around. Don't almost take Friday, Monday, Tuesday, because people take long weekends. So get a little bit more in now, because later in the week it kind of dies down.
This is hitting very close to home, actually, because my dad says the exact same thing to me. Like,
and I'm not an HR guy, Jamie.
No, but he's like, networking is everything.
Yep.
Like, that is the bread and butter of finding a job. And for me personally, like, after graduating college back in 2021. It was still like around COVID, heavy COVID. So, I mean, I've been sort of freelancing in and out of jobs since then, but so I'm looking for something full time similar to you, having just graduated. So, we're having similar conversations all the time as well. So, this is very much hitting very close to home, and your advice is very on point. So,
I need
I
to hear it like every like hour of every day. It's literally like
yeah.
it's like on a constant rerun in this house right now.
No, I got you.
Bill, I'm
I got
curious.
you.
I'm curious, and then Jill will get to the last question before we get into the New England thing we talked about. You interned with the Bruins. Do you want to work in sports?
I would love to work in sports. Actually, the reason that I love Boston sports and love the Bruins so much, it's actually tied to the marathon. So I remember after the bombing, after we got home, the Bruins played in a game, and before the game, they sang the national anthem, and it was so they have the same arena singer every game.
Mm.
The arena took over for the singer and sang the entire national anthem in the TD Garden for the Bruins. And I remember we watched it and we were both like emotional over it. It was literally the best moment. That's probably why we're so tied to the Bruins. Like that was an iconic moment and that hooked me on sports, specifically New England sports.
Yeah.
But I'd love to work in sports one day. It's the best. You get to see the coolest things and meet the coolest people and you get to be a part of these crazy things that people are like, "Oh my God, that was the best thing I've ever watched," or "That was the best thing I've ever attended," and you get to be a part of building that experience.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, so cool. All right, Belle, what is the greatest wish for your dad? What is your greatest wish for your dad?
The greatest wish for my dad. I don't know. Let me think on that. The greatest wish would have to be,
You get a job.
oh yeah, probably for him. No, I would say probably to continue to be like this positive. Like that's like my like greatest wish. Like for my entire life he's literally been so positive even after the marathon, after all that stuff. Like I remember when we were walking up to the start line this year, we were like emotional and it was a positive thing and just I need him to be positive. So my wish is for him to stay positive because it's like my therapy.
And Jamie, over to you. I think you might have just mentioned one of them, but what is yours for Belle?
Look, I want her to be happy and do what she wants to do. That she's at a unique point in her life where you can decide what road you go down, and take the time to, really find that road, find something you love to do because, that's the most important thing. If you want to work in sports, I say it all the time, if you want to work in sports, well, work in sports, figure it out, figure a way into sports, figure a way into a great company. She's talked to some fitness. She's a big fitness person too, big into fitness and TikToking in the fitness world. And so that's another piece of it. I'm like, if you want to be in that world, let's figure it out. Like network your way into that world. It may not happen today, tomorrow, but in a month or 3 months or 6 months, like those things will happen. So I think it's finding the place and an opportunity for her that she's passionate about and she loves to do. I think that is my wish because that'll make her happy, right? That will like doing something you love. I mean, and I'm in a job and work for a company that I don't see it as work. Now, granted, in HR, we do investigations and all those crazy things. Yes, but I'm doing it in an environment and that I love to do and with people that I love to work with. And I think finding that is really important. And so if you want to work in sports, work in sports. If you want to get in that fitness world of like fitness tech world, get in that world, like and find the way. And I think that's, to me, that's that wish I have for her.
That's
Amazing.
terrific. Guys, if you haven't had enough fun yet, we've come to the portion of Talks to Go that we call Rapid Fire Roundup. And it works very simply. We're going to give you, in rapid fire fashion, some very simple choices or quick questions.
This or
We
that.
just want spontaneous answers. Don't think about it. Gut reaction, go for it. And Belle, I've got the first one for you. Ready?
Yeah.
Newport or Narragansett?
Narragansett. We just had this conversation yesterday because we went to Narragansett And we said Narragansett over Newport.
All
It's
right.
like,
We'll have to go to Narragansett next time.
you have to go.
Yeah, Jamie, who would you rather pay to see play? The Boston Red Sox, New England Patriots, Boston Bruins, or the Celtics?
Boston Bruins. I love the Bruins. I grew up, I played hockey I still played hockey. Last night at 11 o'clock, I was playing hockey. Late, it's men's league late at night when you can play. I grew up playing hockey. I grew up in the 70s and 80s playing hockey and through the U.S. Olympic team, through Bobby. Like that was my time and my passion and about hockey. I love hockey. I also love the Patriots though. The Patriots have been, Isabella's grown up in the Tom Brady era. So
Oh, this is like new to me, this world of like
Yeah.
being like losers. Like this is not normal.
Welcome to New York football. Belle, would you rather have a great dinner on Cape Cod or see a concert at Fenway?
Concert at Fenway. The concerts at Fenway are awesome. I can hear them from my apartment sometimes.
Wow.
It's really cool. It just when you live in Boston, Fenway Park is like the home base of everything. It's your entire existence.
Yeah. All right. Jamie, lobster or oysters?
neither.
Okay.
I love seafood, but not shellfish food. I love like swimming seafood. I love sushi, but it has to any crawling fish. I'm not for, but anything that swims,
You had swordfish tacos.
tuna, yes, I had swordfish tacos yesterday. But clams, lobster, crabs, I'm not a big fan.
Not there.
Oh,
Okay,
good.
fair enough. Belle, and we touched on this a little bit earlier, but we'll go for it anyway. Would you rather run Boston again or try New York City?
Oh, everyone asks me this question. I really want to try New York. I know that like if I was only able to do one marathon this coming year, it would probably be New York. I would probably feel super like major FOMO come April and living in Boston. But I'm done. He literally says New York is awesome, and everyone else that I talk to says that the New York City Marathon is awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool. We went to go support a friend of mine a couple years back, and it's just
It's
it was my
amazing.
first time going to see a marathon, and it was incredible. So definitely recommend. All right, Jamie, if you run another Boston Marathon again and can choose any professional athlete, past or present, as your running partner, who would it be?
I think I could guess.
Oh, it'd be Tom Brady. So Tom Brady,
See, I thought you were going to go for Bobby Orr, Jamie.
yeah, well, Bobby Orr couldn't win, right? Bobby Orr has big knee, and Bobby Orr was like, yes, growing up, but Tom Brady, he's positive, his energy, his vibe. I know some people think he's a little out there now, but for his focus and determination, and hey, we can do anything. So she talked about glass half full. Tom Brady is like always full, not even half full, overflowing full. And to be able to run and spend time and talk to him for a period of time would be amazing.
All right.
Okay.
Other than my dad, Tom Brady is my hero. No, I'm kidding.
That's okay if it is. Belle, when Hollywood produces the Isabella and Jamie Zito story, who would you like to see play you?
Play me? Okay, I'd say Aubrey Plaza.
Ooh, good
We
one.
love Aubrey
She's, like,
Plaza.
funny, but she's also kind of like sassy, and I'm definitely sassy.
I think that's a great casting choice. I
Love
like
Aubrey
that.
Plaza.
Yeah.
And I feel like we have similar features. She was in White Lotus season 2. Okay.
Yeah.
That's okay.
I think that's a great choice. Great choice, Belle. Jamie, same movie. Who plays you?
Okay.
Oh, God.
So
Belle, you can help out your dad if you have any
Yes.
suggestions.
So our Facebook post that
Oh,
Special
yeah.
Olympics put out that got 10 million views, and the amount of comments, it was thousands of comments on there. And Jill, I don't know if you read some of the comments, but there's thousands of comments. And there was a lot of comments, and this is going to sound odd, but a lot of people say, boy, that guy looks like Mario Lopez.
Oh my gosh.
So
His
wait,
hair.
so she's like, who's that? I'm like, the guy from Saved by the Bell, right? Like Mario Lopez. So when you asked her, I'm like, oh, Mario Lopez popped in my head. I don't know if that's good or bad or what.
We'll take it.
I
We'll
mean,
take it.
Great
And-
looking guys.
yeah, and
you
by
know?
the way, I'm writing the script, and the final scene is take my hand.
there
There
you
you
go.
go. Okay.
I'm telling you, that was an amazing thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right, Jamie, sticking with you. Favorite beverage on a snowy Saturday New England night?
Favorite beverage on a snowy Saturday New England night. I like a cold beer. Like I'm a cold beer person. Not a lot of them, but I love a good like real cold, and it doesn't not a crafty beer. Like Coors Light is like a good to me. I know a lot of people are
That
like, oh, and I'm like, no, like having a good core, like an ice cold Coors Light or something like that, or Blue Moon or one of those.
Hmm.
That's another one that I like. Nothing like dark or nothing like crafty. Not a wine drinker, so I would say like one of those kind of beers.
All
okay.
right.
Belle, one thing you'd like to do with your dad that you have not yet done.
We have not done. This was like it. Okay, no, let me think about that. That was like our one. That we haven't done. Okay, we'll do to run the 6 stars.
All
Okay.
right. There you go.
All
It's gonna
right.
kill me. That may kill me. That may kill me.
All right, Jamie, if you threw a private dinner party for family and friends and money was no object, who would you hire as the entertainment?
Billy Joel.
Oh
I
God.
love Billy Joel. My wife and I have seen him so many times. We love it's just and if you've never seen Billy Joel in concert,
Mhm.
it's an amazing experience. We went last year to Madison Square Garden to
We
see
might
him.
have been there the same night.
Yep.
Not the last night. We didn't go the last night.
Okay.
Just an amazing experience. And I'd never been into Madison Square Garden before. So
Oh, okay.
Billy Joel, bar none.
All right.
All righty.
Last question, and this is for both of you. If you could only listen to one musical artist's discography while running a marathon, who would it be?
Taylor Swift.
I got
We are a house of Swifties. We
They
went to
are.
the
They're
Eras
big.
tour twice.
They're big Taylor Swift fans.
Yep, same.
Yo, he's got friendship bracelets to prove that.
I went, and it was really good. Like it was an amazing. Like I didn't going in. I only knew a couple of the songs. I knew them all leaving and the lead up to it. I would say to me, Billy Joel. I don't have a lot of
Listen to
music.
Okay.
Listen to Train a little bit, like Sting. Um, but Billy Joel is like my go-to. I don't have this like broad music sense. I listen to a lot of podcasts when I run, and when I'm
Okay.
driving in the car, they're like, "Oh God, another podcast on." So I'm a big podcaster. I'm not a big like music person. So
Mm.
I
All
love
right.
All right.
80s
Okay.
music, done on the radio.
All right.
Yeah.
I'm going to borrow a marathon metaphor and say we're almost at the finish line. All right. So now we're going to take the two of you off the hot seat. And this is a section we call cross examination, simply because you get to ask us each a question. And the reason why it's cross exam, Jamie, you get to ask a question of Jill, Belle, you a question of me, and you guys can decide who goes first.
Do you want to go first or do you
I
want me
can
to
go
go
first.
first?
Yeah,
Okay.
I can go first. So Jill,
Yes.
you've this podcast that you guys have here. I listened to it, obviously listened to she when she said to me, "Hey, these people want to do a podcast." I'm like, "Ooh, are you sure?" Like, I gotta listen to this before to make sure this is like on the up and up and outstanding. And I've been really impressed how you've kind of started this podcast
Thank you.
from nothing, from The Bachelor. I think I listened to one of them last
Yes.
week or two.
Right.
Good listener.
Very good. You've done your research. I like
I
that.
do, I do. But and going through your list of guests, so many famous guests up until today. You've had a lot of famous people. How did you develop that? Like Tim Kurchin, the Vitalis, the I'm drawing a blank on the guy's name,
That's okay.
the F1 guy, like
Oh,
so
Gunther
many
Steiner.
people
Yep.
that are famous people that you've taken this podcast that started in college as The Bachelor, and then you convince your dad. But how did you go to like now all of a sudden you have these guests that are, you know,
Amazing.
amazing figures? I mean, Tim Kurkjian was like just listening to him, I could have listened to him forever. Even his discussion about his daughter's 3-pointers and free throws, it was amazing.
Yeah. No, I mean he was an amazing guest. For us, I mean, it's really like cold calling, cold emailing, cold DMing, like we did with you guys. That's sort of how we've reached out to a lot of people. Some of them are friends of friends or just yeah, I feel like that's you can sort of add to this one,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
that's sort of like the main way we do it. And we've tried to get people who are like A status. And for that, we'll go onto IMDb and they have their, management listed, their publicists listed, and we'll reach out to them. And a lot of the times they are no's, and a lot of the times we get no responses at all. But yeah, we still try and just do it any and each way we can to get people on here.
Yeah, I'll just add a little bit to this, and Jill is absolutely right. I've been very fortunate. Talk about sports. I was the PA announcer for a local minor league baseball team here in the North Jersey area for 14 seasons. As a result of that, I've been the PA announcer, guest speaker, the local sports anchor for the NBC affiliate here in New York. His name is Bruce Beck, runs an annual summer sports broadcasting camp, and I've been doing that now for the last 18 years. And I teach all the kids, they're primarily high school kids. I said, if you want to be a great PA announcer, Bob Shepard, who was the legendary announcer for the Yankees, said, you got to be clear, concise, and correct. The 3 C's. And I said, and if you want to get a job as a PA announcer, I'm going to add a 4th C, and that is chutzpah. Mm-hmm. And I ask, all these kids, invariably nobody raises their hand. And I said, it's a Yiddish expression. I'm going to be polite about it. It means you got to have some nerve. You got to have some guts. I could use some other words, but that's really what it boils down to. And when it comes to this podcast, we've got chutzpah. My mother taught me a great lesson years ago, and she said, when you ask somebody, for something, the worst answer you can possibly get is no. Mm-hmm. And that's what's happened here, as Jill has said. Either we'll get no, we'll pass, or we won't hear anything at all. But sometimes we're surprised. Now, you talked about Kirchian. The way that came about was I happened to see the podcast that he does with his son, Jeff. I reached out to Jeff because his email was published. Yeah. And I said, we've got this podcast. I hate to send you to the sideline. In this case, we'd love to have your dad. We did some research, found out they have a daughter, Kelly, who you heard on the podcast, Jamie. And that's how that came about. Ali Vitale from MSNBC. I know I've discovered the NBC email protocol or convention, and I just sent her a cold email, and boom, there it was. She responded, said we'd love to do it. So that's how it's really happened. Yeah, but we get far more no's and no response than yeses. Yeah. But we just keep trying. We're like the little train that can. Yeah. Yeah.
It's an amazing. I said to her when I looked, I'm like, Belle, look at the people on this. Like, this is who's who. Like, why do they want to talk to us? Like,
yeah.
No.
And you know what my response is? Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Exactly. Yeah.
Your story is awesome.
Come on, you guys are in People Magazine. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Come on, that may be your 15 minutes of fame. Who knows?
Oh, that's it. Yes.
No, but you guys are doing awesome things, and we just love hearing stories from other fathers and daughters. So when I saw your story pop up on Instagram, I was like, Dad, we should reach out to them and see and hear more about their stories.
And thank you for saying yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, so for my question, if both of you can answer. So you've been doing this podcast for a while, and you've had a lot of great guests. Who would be your dream guest on your podcast, dead or alive?
Want me to go first?
Yeah, you can go first.
So my dream guest was a father-daughter, but not a biological father-daughter. It was a movie father-daughter. And we talked about Field of Dreams. I really wanted Kevin Costner and Gabby Hoffman, who played his young daughter in Field of Dreams.
Girl who chokes on the hot dog.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. Now, in this case, sometimes it's pretty cool when you get a no. We reached out to CAA, which is one of the biggest talent agencies in Hollywood. Again, sure enough, they responded. It wasn't really even a no. Is it, thank you for, but Kevin's not doing podcasts at this time. I thought that was pretty cool. At least we heard back. Gabby Hoffman, we had no clue. I would take Gabby Hoffman and her biological dad, but we haven't been able yet to find a way to get in touch with her. Yeah. So that was my reach. Yeah.
That's a great one.
Yeah.
I mean, reach. I would say Taylor Swift and her dad,
right.
But I think maybe a step below. Maybe they're equal, but Billie Eilish and her dad. I know they have a really close relationship, and she goes on tour with her family all the time. So just the stories from her childhood and being on tour, that would be really cool.
Yeah, that would.
Yeah. So before we let both of you guys go, if and only if you want to, I know you guys are a little more private, but please let our listeners know where they can find you, follow you, anything you got going on in the near future, and yeah, what you guys have planned.
Good, I'll leave that to you.
Yeah,
So you can find me on TikTok. I do running vlogs all the time. He makes
awesome.
running
Okay.
vlogs.
Yeah,
Where I'm like mile 1, mile 2. So my username for both my Instagram and my TikTok are _Belle Zito. So
perfect.
find me there.
And I am anti-social media. I don't have TikTok. I don't have Instagram. I'm on LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn if you're looking for a career in sports or want to just connect with me. Feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn, Jamie Zito.
Okay, very
Perfect.
good. All right.
Yeah.
So, Jamie and Belle Zito, we want to thank you guys for a very entertaining, revealing, and I'll say in the spirit of Boston sports, a very green with envy talk to go.